The government shutdown continues apace. Virginia AG candidate Jay Jones fields another scandal, and almost 100,000 veterans are receiving disability checks for acne. I'm Georgia Howe. John's out this week. It's Tuesday, October 7th, and this is Evening Wire. The government shutdown continues after the Senate rejected both the Republican and Democrat-led funding bills yesterday. Keep an eye on dailywire.com for the latest updates. A newly released memo suggests Vice President Joe Biden asked the CIA to bury an intelligence report, and they did. Current CIA Director John Ratcliffe declassified an email dated February 10, 2016, which said the VP, quote, would strongly prefer the report not to be disseminated. The report apparently revealed that Ukrainian officials noted an apparent double standard between corruption in Ukraine and the Biden family's own business ties to their country. The memo was discovered during a review of CIA historical documents. Fox News Digital confirmed with the CIA that the request was honored and that the report was not, in fact, shared. Another university president has been exposed for plagiarism. Daily Wire investigative reporter Luke Rosiak has the story.
Heidi Anderson is president of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and has held elite academic jobs, including chairing the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. But her 1986 dissertation on using computers in pharmacy education basically took somebody else's paper on using computers in nursing education and changed the name of the field. A former professor has also sued Anderson and the university, saying that Anderson, who is black, hired unqualified black professors and paid them more than whites, while white faculty were forced to do the work that black officials took credit for. This is the second University of Maryland system president to have been busted for plagiarism. The Daily Wire caught Darrell Pines, president of the flagship campus at College Park, more than a year ago, but Chancellor Jay Perman says the investigation into Pines is still ongoing. Anderson said there will be a similar assessment of her.
Far-left New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani seems to be changing his pitch for increasing taxes on the wealthy. Daily Wire reporter Zach Jewell has more.
Mamdani appears to be retreating from his earlier promises to fund a sweeping $10 billion package of new social programs through higher taxes on the wealthy. The proposal, which includes free public bus service and city-owned subsidized grocery stores, once hinged on tax hikes for top earners. Now, as his campaign gains traction, Mamdani has begun to hedge those promises. On the trail, he suggested that new taxes may not be politically feasible, instead floating vague alternatives like increased city revenues, cost savings, and what he described as, quote, a pot of money that wasn't previously spoken about. New York City currently carries more than $100 billion in debt.
The Supreme Court has closed the door on the case of Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for her part in Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse of underage girls. She was convicted on charges including sex trafficking conspiracy and sex trafficking of a minor. The court rejected Maxwell's appeal of her criminal convictions, but Maxwell's lawyer says, quote, the fight isn't over. New scandals have emerged for Virginia Democratic Attorney General candidate Jay Jones. Daily Wire senior editor Joel Needler has the details.
Jones has already been in hot water after leaked text messages allegedly reveal his repeated desire to murder his conservative political opponent. Jones also apparently dodged jail time after a reckless driving charge in 2022. Jones, who was caught driving at speeds exceeding 115 miles per hour, was able to avoid a 1-year jail sentence by serving 1,000 hours of community service and a $1,500 fine. Half of those hours, however, were served volunteering with his own political action committee. As The Guardian reports, even as Jones allegedly fantasized about his political opponent's murder, he publicly lobbied for the termination of a Norfolk police officer who made a $25 donation to the Kyle Rittenhouse Legal Fund, calling the officer's actions, quote, utterly disgusting. Despite mounting scandals, Jones still received endorsements from top Democrats, including Cory Booker, and continues to lead in the polls for the Virginia AG race.
The Rutgers University TPUSA chapter has launched a petition of removal towards assistant teaching professor and author of, quote, Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, Mark Bray, who then announced he was leaving the country due to safety concerns. In an email to students, Bray wrote that he was receiving negative media attention and threats with his home address attached, adding, since my family and I do not feel safe in our home at the moment, we are moving for the year to Europe. The petition was launched due to remarks made by Bray which supported Antifa. The letter reads, we, the students of Rutgers University, are deeply concerned to learn that an outspoken, well-known Antifa member, Dr. Mark Bray, is employed at the university. and continued on to say that he regularly referred to mainstream conservative figures such as Bill O'Reilly as a fascist and called for militant actions to be taken against them. They continued, quote, "This is the kind of rhetoric that resulted in Charlie Kirk being assassinated last month." The FBI said it busted an international money laundering scheme tied to the children of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro. Daily Wire reporter Tim Pierce has the details.
2 men have been indicted in connection with the scheme. According to the Bureau, the 2 men agreed to move $100,000 in sanctioned money for members of the Maduro regime, as well as open U.S. bank accounts for Maduro's children. About a quarter of the cash was moved to the United States in an operation one of the accused allegedly described as a sexy business. FBI Director Kash Patel said in a statement, quote, "Under my leadership, this FBI will continue to choke off every dollar, every account, and every enabler." He added that America will never be a safe haven for Maduro's blood money.
Journalist Bari Weiss says she wants to restore public confidence in the media as the newly appointed editor-in-chief of CBS News. In a memo to staff on Monday, Weiss wrote, quote, "I want to hear from you about what's working, what isn't, and your thoughts on how we can make CBS News the most trusted news organization in America and the world. I'll approach it the way any reporter would, with an open mind, a fresh notebook, and an urgent deadline." Her remarks come as public trust in U.S. news outlets reach historic lows. A recent Gallup poll found that only 28% of Americans say they have a great deal or fair amount of trust in newspapers, television, and radio to, quote, "report the news fully, accurately, and fairly." According to the Washington Post, hundreds of thousands of veterans receive VA disability checks for minor treatable conditions. After analyzing 25 years' worth of government data, the Post found that rampant abuse and fraud costs U.S. taxpayers billions of dollars a year. Well over 500,000 veterans receive disability for eczema, over 300,000 for hemorrhoids, and over 80,000 for acne. VA officials say most veteran disability claims are legitimate. Fraud, however, is almost never prosecuted except in the most severe cases. According to government data, disabled veterans were sent about $25,000 on average last year. Last week, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth fired Navy Chief of Staff John Harrison. Harrison was appointed by President Donald Trump in January and has since played an integral role in reshaping Navy policies and budget alongside Navy Secretary John Phelan. But the move came shortly after Howe, a Republican and Trump supporter, was confirmed as the new Navy Undersecretary after Harrison's efforts reportedly undermined Howe's position. The Pentagon only said it was grateful for Harrison's service, giving no reason for the firing. After pressure from Attorney General Pam Bondi and the DOJ, Apple has removed its controversial ICE tracking apps, including IceBlock. Daily Wire assistant editor Andy Valdez has more.
The app IceBlock, which launched earlier this year, was created to anonymously report sightings of ICE agents and shield illegal immigrants. Its motto, see something, tap something. Bondi said IceBlock was, quote, designed to put ICE agents at risk just for doing their jobs, and that violence against law enforcement is an intolerable red line that cannot be crossed. After the DOJ demanded the app's removal from the Apple App Store, the tech company obliged. Meanwhile, the app's creator, Joshua Aaron, says he is incredibly disappointed, adding, quote, "We are determined to fight this with everything we have."
A judge has dismissed the sexual assault case against author Neil Gaiman, but he's not out of the woods. The judge ruled that because the alleged crimes occurred in New Zealand and all parties reside in New Zealand, that is the most appropriate venue for the litigation. Gaiman, who's best known for the Coraline children's book, has been accused of rape by 8 women, with accusations spanning decades. The main accusation stems from a nanny who says she was raped by Gaiman in the family home and that Gaiman's now estranged wife was aware of his tendencies and enabled the abuse. Gaiman and his estranged wife Amanda Palmer have agreed to accept service in New Zealand. Country artist Bryan is facing backlash from conservatives after previewing a new song called Bad News, which laments the current state of the U.S. Long known for his liberal political stances, Bryan's new song criticizes both police and ICE.
And ICE gonna come bust down your door. Try to build a house, no one builds no more. But I got a telephone. Kids are all scared and all alone.
Bryan turned off comments on the post after angry posters flooded the comment section. The controversy comes at the height of Bryan's career. The singer recently broke the record for the largest ticketed concert in U.S. history after performing in front of a sold-out crowd at the University of Michigan Stadium on September 27th. That record was previously held by George Strait. Those are your drive home updates this evening. To learn more about these stories, go to dailywire.com. And in case you missed it this morning, we covered some major stories, including Israel and Hamas hammering out a peace deal 2 years after the heinous October 7th attacks, President Trump deploying the Texas National Guard to Chicago, and violent text messages from a Democratic candidate in Virginia. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another full edition of Morning Wire.